The barbell back squat is one of the more advanced squat variations. I generally like to have my clients master a bodyweight box squat, a bodyweight squat, a goblet squat, sometimes a front squat, before moving on to a back squat. And the reason being, there's a lot of moving parts, and having a bar on your back just makes things a little bit more challenging. So just like with all the other squat variations, your squat is going to look slightly different from everyone else's based on your height, your limb length, your training history, any like mobility or stability limitations you might have. So the advice that I'm going to give you on how to barbell back squat are going to be general principles, but you might need to change things up a little bit based on your specific needs. So just like with other squats, we generally barbell back squat with our feet a little wider than shoulder width apart. Now, oftentimes you'll see people barbell back squatting really, really wide. Now, this is a technique used by powerlifters to shorten the range of motion. Well, there's nothing inherently wrong with this position. In general, we like to show women kind of a more moderate stance position. So you're gonna have your feet a little wider than shoulder width apart, toes turned out somewhere between 15 and 30 degrees. You wanna make sure your core is extremely braced in the barbell back squat. So I generally like to take a big deep breath in through my nose, blow all of my air out hard through my mouth, and brace my core. But I do that, I blow my air out simply to get my rib cage towards my pelvis and brace my core. I never barbell back squat with my air all the way out. After I've blown the air out, I'm gonna breathe in again and make sure I expand circumferentially. So what does that mean? It means when I go to breathe in, I'm not just breathing out in the front, because as you can see what happens, I go into lumbar hyperextension. I wanna make sure I breathe in the back and in the sides and in the front. So I'm gonna take a big deep breath in, blow my air out, get my rib cage in position, and then I'm gonna breathe in circumferentially. So you should see my hands kind of expanding because my front, my sides, and my back are all expanding at once. Once I get in that position, I'm gonna drive my knees out and sit back and down in between my hips. Now I have long limbs, long legs, and a shorter torso, so I'm gonna have a little bit more of a forward lean than someone who has shorter legs and a taller torso. Another thing that's super important, before you get underneath the bar, you wanna make sure that you've squeezed your back together nice and tight and created a little shelf for the bar to sit on. Oftentimes people say, oh, the bar hurts my neck. It should not be sitting on your neck, especially on any bony prominences. You're gonna make sure you squeeze your back together, create a little shelf back there, and set the bar right there. You're also gonna be gripping the bar really tight because it helps you maintain more tension through your entire body and thinking about almost pulling your elbows underneath you. Now, the more mobile your shoulders are, the closer your hands will be able to be. If your shoulders are not as mobile, your hands are gonna need to be out a little bit wider. Again, that might be why you see some of the power lifters with their arms out really wide because they lack the shoulder mobility to get in a little bit tighter. So, let's see how this looks. Grab the bar, hands a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, get under the bar, squeeze my back together to create a nice little shelf, squeeze the bar nice and tight, pull my shoulders under, stand up, take a couple steps back, get in my stance, take a big deep breath in through my nose, blow my air out, get my rib cage down and brace my core, another deep breath in, drive my knees out and sit back, and come up. Now I get the question a lot, how should I be breathing during my squats? Well, as I mentioned, it's a big deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and then you fill up again with air. That intra-abdominal pressure is gonna be one of the things that keeps your spine safe and supported in neutral. So generally, when I do that, I fill up with air, I get a couple reps in, and then when I feel like I need to breathe again, I'll hang out at the top, and reset again. If you can only do one squat per breath, that's okay. It's just absolutely critical that you're maintaining good spinal alignment and enough intra-abdominal pressure to keep yourself safe. So guys, that's the barbell back squat. And remember, yours might look slightly different than mine based on our individual differences, but in general, those are the principles you should be following.